In this video, I'll show you how to pull raw data from Postgres into Knowi, write a query, and quickly build a dashboard from it. To connect to your data source, go to Queries, and then select New Data Source. You can search for the data source that you want to connect to in the list here, or you can just use the search bar at the top. First, I'll give my data source a unique name. The host name is the domain or IP address of your Postgres database, and the port is the port that your database is running on. Database name is the name of the specific Postgres database that you want to connect to. And schema name is optional. You can fill it in if your tables live in a specific schema. If you leave it blank, Postgres will use the database's default search path. And then input your username and password for Postgres. And database properties is optional, so you can add any parameters if you have additional ones that you want to add. One note is that if you use date or time fields without time zone in Postgres, by default, Knowi will use UTC. So to change that, you can use server time zone. So for example, server time zone equals US Central. If you want Knowi to write data back into your Postgres database, you can select Writable Destination. SSH tunnel is useful if your database is behind a firewall. And then lastly, Detect Schema tells Knowi to automatically detect relationships between tables. Once you've got your parameters filled out, you can test the connection, and we see that it's successful. So now we'll save, and we can start building our query. Here are all the tables available to us in our Postgres database. You can expand any of these to see the different fields and data types within each table. And then you can drag and drop the table that you want to build your query from. You can preview your query as you build it. And you can build it in this visual builder here and select different fields like I'm doing, including sorting or adding, any filters that you want to use. You can also go into editor mode, and you'll see that Knowi automatically generates a query for you in the language of the database that you're connected. So if you have a query already written out, you can just copy and paste it into the editor box here, or you could write it out yourself. So I'll bring in the full data table. Next, we'll go to data strategy. So we can choose to run once, which means that this data will be pulled as is. We could also run a direct query, which means that anytime we open up a dashboard or a widget tied to this query, the data will re-pull. And then we could also choose to run this query on a scheduled interval. And you could tailor that to run as frequently as you need it to. Before we run our query, we'll want to give it a name. And then we'll select Create and Run. We're brought to an overview of our query, so we can see the steps we've taken from the query that's created a data set and then a widget, which is basically a visualization in Knowi. It's really easy to build dashboards in Knowi. Knowi integrates AI to help answer questions and generate insights about your data. So I could ask any questions here that I want answered. For instance, I could say, total conversions weekly by campaign, and total emails sent, bounced, and delivered weekly. Once our dashboard has been generated, there will be 4 widgets here. So we've got a default widget with our raw data set. and then another default widget with our AI recommendations, which can take a few moments to load since the AI model is essentially analyzing our data and generating insights for us. And then we've got 2 widgets based on the questions I've asked. So here we've got weekly conversions by campaign, and then the weekly email metrics, total sent, bounced, and delivered. So we can go into each of these widgets to verify the steps that AI took to get these visualizations. And then under the visualization tab, you can customize how you want to display your data. So the AI recommendations widget is one of the options here. And we've also got the instant sites, which can generate summaries and instant sites about your data. And now we'll see the AI recommendations widget has loaded. And it generates a list of 5 findings and associated action items. If you think of more questions that you want to ask about your data, you can use the natural language processing bar at the top here. So for instance, I could say top campaigns by conversions. And we'll see that our data has been filtered and sorted based on the question that we've asked. And again, you can go into that visualization tab and specify how you want to display that data. Once you've rearranged your widgets and got your dashboard looking the way you want, you can choose to send it out as a PDF report. Here you can select instant sites and turn on AI generated recommendations. And then in the body of your email, you would write embed recommendations. And now the email that will be sent out, or the Slack or Teams message that gets sent out will be a PDF report of your dashboard, along with, in the body of the message, AI generated recommendations for the entire dashboard. You can choose to send this out on a schedule as well, or you could just send it out one time as a report. You can also set up alerts for any of your widgets. These could be based on thresholds or anomaly detections. You can also use the Instant Sites button at each widget to see different insights about your data, including anomalies, bottom values, growth rates, predictions, summaries, and high values. And that's how you go from raw Postgres data to a fully built dashboard in Knowi.